She told me she had no homework, and I believed her. She said it clearly. No hesitation. No fidgeting. She looked me right in the eye, and she lied. I didn't know that yet. I found out 3 weeks later when her teacher called. 3 weeks of missed assignments. 3 weeks of sitting at that table, pretending everything was fine, and I had believed her. Not because I was careless. Not because I wasn't paying attention. I believed her because she was my daughter. Because I knew her. Because she had never given me a reason not to. Or so I thought. This is case file 005. She was not lying to get away with something. She was lying because the truth felt dangerous. To understand what I found, you need to understand who Maya was before any of this began. Maya Collins was 8 years old. Dark blonde hair, bright, clever eyes. The kind of child who noticed everything. She was the child who reminded me about her own homework unprompted. Who colored inside the lines so carefully, it sometimes took her twice as long as everyone else. Who cried when she got answers wrong, not loudly, just quietly to herself. She was the kind of child who cared so much about doing well, that it was sometimes, if I am being honest, more than a little child should have to carry, but I did not see that then. I saw a conscientious child, a responsible child, a child I was proud of. I saw a child who was doing well. I did not see the weight underneath it. She was right years old. When the leeing started, I asked if she had practiced her reading that evening. She said yes. I later found out she hadn't opened the book. I corrected her. She apologized. I moved on. I thought it was over. But it wasn't over. It was just the beginning of a pattern I didn't yet know to look for. Over the following weeks, I started noticing small inconsistencies. She would say she had eaten lunch, but she came home hungrier than a child who had eaten lunch. She would say school was fine, but she stopped talking about her friends the way she used to. She would say she understood her homework, but then she would sit at the table in silence, pencil not moving, for an hour. Each lie, taken alone, felt manageable. Together they were beginning to form a picture I couldn't yet read, and the more I asked, the more she retreated, the more I pressed, the more polished the lies became. She wasn't getting worse at this. She was getting better. And somehow that frightened me more. There is a moment, and if you are a parent who has been here, you will recognize it instantly. There is a moment when you stop being frustrated and start being afraid. For me, that moment came on a Tuesday evening. I had asked her a simple question, something ordinary. I don't even remember what it was now, and she answered me. But as she answered, something in her face did not match what she was saying. Her words were calm. Her eyes were somewhere else entirely. And I thought, she is not lying because she wants to get away with something. She is lying because she is protecting something. I just did not yet understand what. I started paying attention differently after that, not looking for the lies, looking for what was underneath them. And what I saw broke something open in me. She never lied about things that didn't matter. She lied about school, about how she was doing, about whether she understood things. She lied about the things that carried the possibility of disappointing me. That was the pattern, not deception, not manipulation. Protection. She was protecting me from knowing she was struggling, and she was protecting herself from having to watch my face when she found out. The bigger lie came on a Friday night. She had a maths test that week. I had asked her about it on the day. She told me it went well. She smiled when she said it. She even gave me a detail. I think I got the fractions right. I remember feeling relieved. I remember thinking, good, she is doing better. The test came home 10 days later, 41%. I stared at that number for a long time. She had known that score for 10 days. She had sat across from me at dinner every single night for 10 days. And she had said nothing. Not because she didn't care. I found out later she had cried in the school bathroom when she got it back. She just couldn't tell me. I want to be honest about what happened next, because I don't think I handled it well. I was hurt. Not just about the test, about the 10 days. I asked her, and my voice was not kind when I asked. I asked her why she hadn't told me. She went very quiet, and then she said something I will carry with me for the rest of my life. She said, because I didn't want you to be disappointed in me. She didn't cry when she said it. And somehow that made it worse. 2 weeks after that conversation, I was looking for a permission slip in Maya's school bag. I almost missed it, a folded piece of paper, tucked into the inside pocket. Behind everything else, I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. It was a letter, written in Maya's handwriting, to no one, not to me, not to her teacher, not to a friend, just written and hidden. I stood in the kitchen, still in my coat, still holding her school bag, and I read every word, and by the time I finished, I was not standing anymore. I was sitting on the kitchen floor, not because I was devastated by her dishonesty, because I was devastated by her loneliness. The letter did not say much. It was not long, but every line broke something open in me. She had written, I practice what I am going to say before I say it so I do not get it wrong. I read that line 3 times, my 8-year-old daughter, practicing her words before she spoke them. Not to deceive me, to survive me. She had written, I do not tell you when things go wrong because your face changes, and I cannot bear it. I thought about every time I had asked her how something went, every time I had tried to hide my disappointment and failed. Every time my face had told her something my words did not. She had written, I am not lying because I want to. I am lying because the truth feels too heavy to carry to you, too heavy to carry to you. Not too heavy to carry, too heavy to carry. To me, she had been carrying it alone because she did not believe I could hold it with her. She had written, sometimes I think you love the version of me that does well more than the version of me that struggles. I sat on that kitchen floor for a long time, not moving, not crying loudly, just sitting with those words. Because she was not wrong. I had not meant to teach her that. I had not meant to make my love feel conditional on her performance. But somewhere between the homework reminders and the test results, and the are you sure you understand, this, she had learned it anyway, and the last line she had written was the one that undid me completely. She had written, I want to tell you things, I just do not know how to start. She wanted to tell me. She had always wanted to tell me. She just did not know if it was safe. And I had never thought to make it safe enough. I did not tell Maya I had found the letter that night. I needed time to sit with what I had read, because what I was holding in my hands was not a confession. It was a map of everything happening inside my daughter that I had been too focused on the surface to see. The lies were never the problem, the lies were the symptom. The problem was that my daughter had learned somewhere along the way that the truth was a risk she could not afford to take with me. And I had to understand how that had happened before I could begin to change it. I started thinking about my own patterns. The way I responded when she told me something went wrong. The way my voice changed. The way I asked follow-up questions that sounded like accusations. The way I said things like, "But you studied so hard," which was meant to be encouraging, but which she heard as, "You should have done better." I had not been a harsh mother. I had been a mother who cared deeply, but caring deeply expressed in the wrong way, had taught my daughter that my love came with conditions she was not always able to meet, and when she could not meet them, she hid. There are 5 things I understood differently after reading that letter. 5 things I wish I had known on the very first night she looked me in the eye and told me something that was not true. The first thing I understood was in the line where she wrote, "I practice what I am going to say before I say it so I do not get it wrong." This told me that her lying was not impulsive. It was careful, deliberate, exhausting. She was not a child who lied easily. She was a child who worked hard at lying, because the alternative, telling the truth and watching my face change, felt harder. When a child works that hard to avoid the truth, the question is never, why are they lying? The question is, what have they learned the truth will cost them? The second thing I understood was in the line where she wrote, "I do not tell you when things go wrong because your face changes and I cannot bear it." She was not protecting herself from consequences. She was protecting me. She was protecting our relationship. She was carrying her struggles alone, so that the version of us she loved, the version where I was proud of her, and she felt safe, could stay intact. That is not the behavior of a dishonest child. That is the behavior of a child who loves so deeply that she would rather suffer alone than risk losing that love. The third thing I understood was in the line where she wrote, "I am not lying because I want to. I am lying because the truth feels too heavy to carry to you." This line changed everything about how I understood the lying. She was not avoiding responsibility. She was managing an emotional weight that had become too heavy for her to carry to me. Children between 8 and 12 are at a developmental stage where identity is forming. They are beginning to understand how others see them. They are beginning to care, deeply, sometimes painfully, about how they measure up. For some children, the fear of being seen as not good enough is not just uncomfortable, it is unbearable. The lie is not a character flaw. The lie is a signal. It is the child saying, "I am struggling with something I do not know how to carry." The fourth thing I understood was in the line where she wrote, "Sometimes I think you love the version of me that does well more than the version of me that struggles." This was the hardest line to read, because she was not entirely wrong. I had not meant to communicate that. But the research is clear, and this is important. Children do not lie about failure in a vacuum. They lie about failure in environments where failure feels unsafe. Not physically unsafe, emotionally unsafe, where disappointing the people they love feels like a threat to the relationship itself. Most parents in this situation are not harsh parents. They are not critical parents. They are not cold parents. They are parents who love deeply, whose very high hopes for their child have been quietly, unintentionally, translated into pressure. The child did not misread you. The child was responding to something real. And the fifth thing I understood was in the last line she had written, "I want to tell you things. I just do not know how to start." She had always wanted to tell me. The channel of communication was not broken. It was blocked. Blocked by her fear of what the truth would cost her. And the only way to unblock it was not stricter consequences, not zero tolerance, not removing privileges until she learned to be honest. The only way to unblock it was to make the truth feel safer than the lie. Rebuilding trust after this kind of discovery does not happen in one conversation. I want to be clear about that, because I think parents sometimes expect a single honest moment to repair everything. It doesn't work that way. What worked for us, slowly, imperfectly, was a change in what I communicated to her about failure, not what I said. What she experienced. The first thing I did was go back to that moment at the kitchen table. I sat with her and I apologized, not for asking about the test, for the way she had felt she couldn't tell me. I told her, I would rather know you got 41% than have you carry that alone for 10 days. She didn't say much. She nodded, but something in her shoulders changed. I started using a phrase deliberately after that. Whenever something didn't go well, a test, a friendship, a bad day, would say to me the hard part first, not, how did it go? Tell me the hard part first. It sounds small. It is not small. It tells a child, you do not need to protect me from it. It tells them, the hard part is welcome here. I also started sharing my own failures with her. Deliberately. Not to burden her, but to show her that failure was something that happened to everyone, including me. Including the adults she looked up to. I would tell her about the things I had got wrong that day. The email I had sent too quickly. The decision I had second-guessed. The moment I had not handled as well as I wanted to. Small things. But they rebuilt something. They showed her that the people she loved were not only lovable when they got things right, over time. And it did take time. She started telling me things. Not everything, not all at once, but the walls she had built out of fear began, slowly, to come down. She told me about a friendship that had been difficult for months. She told me about a subject she was struggling with. She told me about a day at school that had been harder than she let on. Small things. But they were true things, and true things, shared between us, were worth more than any perfectly performed answer she had ever given me before. I never told Maya I had found the letter. I thought about it many times. But I decided that what mattered was not the letter itself. What mattered was what I did with what it told me. She had written those words for herself, not for me. And in a way she had already told me everything I needed to know. Not with her voice. Freewat the truth she wrote down when she thought nobody was looking. That is the most honest thing about this whole story. The most honest thing my daughter ever said to me. She never said to me at all. She wrote it and hid it, and I almost threw it away. Maya is 11 now. She still gets things wrong sometimes. She is still a child who feels the weight of her own performance more than she should. But she tells me things now. Not everything, not perfectly, but enough. Enough for me to know what is happening inside her. Enough for me to sit with her in the hard parts instead of finding out about them. 10 days later, and enough for her to know that the version of her I love most is not the version that always gets it right. It is the version that trusts me with the parts that went wrong. If you are watching this, and you have ever looked your child in the eyes and known they were lying, and felt something break inside you, I want you to hear this. The lie is not who your child is. The lie is what your child believed they had to do, and the question worth asking is not, why did they lie to me? The question worth asking is, what did they believe the truth would cost them? Because in almost every case the answer to that question will tell you more about your child's inner world than any punishment, any consequence, any lecture about honesty ever could. She was not trying to deceive you. She was trying to survive a feeling she didn't have words for, and she thought she had to do it alone. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Think about the last time your child said, "I am fine," and something in you knew they weren't. What was underneath that? That is exactly what this channel exists to help you understand. If you want more of these real moments and what they actually mean, subscribe. I will see you in the next case file.